I'd like to call the meeting to order and welcome everyone.
It's my turn. This meeting is being held in accordance with the schedule of meetings adopted at the organizational meeting held January 5th, 2022. Adequate notice of this special meeting of the Kenilworth Board of Education has been provided to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, the local source, on January 20th, 2022. The meeting location has been changed via notice on May 5th, 2022. A copy has been filed with the Kenilworth Borough Clerk, posted in the board office, the Kenilworth Borough Hall, the Beryllian Harding Schools, as is provided by the Open Public Meetings Act.
Thank you, Mr. Ganella. Can we please rise for the salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Ganella, can we please have roll call?
Biner. Here. David. Here. Drogan. Here. Tabither. Here. Jankowicz. Here. Ladati. Panici.
Here.
Tiers.
Here.
Zimmerman. We have quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Ganella. So right now we will do the superintendent's reports, presentations, and discussion. Mr. Arlington.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm excited to share some district-wide updates with you by tapping into some of the beginning of school year energy. I know I'm feeling, and I hope others are feeling too. To do that, I'm pleased to share in the celebration of welcome of our new teachers and also pivot to more informational items by presenting details about our school safety data submission to the DOE. As you know, our school safety data submission report presentations are required twice a year. And I'll end with a few events that I hope you mark your calendars for. I'd like to thank members of my administrative team, including our new Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Sam Heimpel, for leading our new teachers through a welcoming, inclusive, and robust new teacher orientation last week. We worked hard to create a program that modeled the good facilitation and teaching practices we hope to see in classrooms and offices, practices that are student and thinking centered. I was grateful to receive some positive feedback from those who participated. I'm also grateful to welcome our 20+ new staff members who I anticipate will help meet our rigorous district and building goals. As I explained to them in our last bit of time together, I have high expectations for them and will work with my team to ensure they are supported in meeting those expectations. But the bottom line is our kids deserve to have the very best teachers available to them, so those high expectations must be met. Please help me in welcoming Laura Astone, Hope Berra, Caitlin Borsis, Gianna Canella, Melissa Cody, Catherine DeRillo, Samantha Heipel, Emma Kartnitsky, Lily Morales, Cameron Murphy, Yasmina Navarro, Christine Parenti, Amber Parkin, Lisa Patron, Amanda Santiago, Lauren Scove, Sauren Smith-Harden, Rachel Stanislausquick, Alexis Terrell, Amy Sanchez, Kevin Fetty, Rebecca Aiello, and Tyler Pettinger. Please help me in welcoming them. I'm sure in a matter of time I'll be sharing with you all their successes and positive contributions to our school community. Our work and focuses for NTO started at a high level. I spent the morning with our new teachers focusing on teacher visions or the ideal images of classroom practice that teachers have. Then some of my team members began to winnow down from vision to best practices as a way of further making clear our expectations for classroom instruction and the support available to our teachers to help them leverage those supports as they work to reach their teacher vision. The focus was on the power of good instruction. I love to unpack these two slides with new teachers, and I thought you might be interested in this too. Take a look at this. If we place a child in a bottom quartile teacher's class, an effective teacher's class, it takes that child in that class a full academic year to learn the knowledge and skills that he or she will learn if we place that same child in a top quartile teacher's class, a high-performing teacher's class. That child learns the same knowledge and skills in 3/4 of the time. Testimony, as I see it, to the power of good teaching. That's straightforward. This one always leads to more generative sort of debate. It's this idea of the spillover effect. I also spent some time working through the idea of the spillover effect as another way of driving home the significance of high-quality teaching. The spillover effect means that when you hire a highly able teacher, not only does achievement go up in that teacher's classroom, but it also goes up in surrounding teachers' classrooms who are working with that highly effective teacher. It goes up as much as 10 to 20% of the amount that would be occurring in that if that teacher was the student's actual classroom teacher. This happens through shared planning, collaboration, and teamwork among colleagues. Again, more data indicating the power of effective teacher. This year, we've committed to sustaining the planning, collaboration, and teamwork we built during NTO throughout the year. Through our transition to a coaching model of supervision, we're focused on support. A new teacher academy will be required of all first-year Kenilworth teachers to help sustain and improve our school community and our supportive new teachers new to that community. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm looking forward to sharing future updates with you about the successes and outcomes of this new cadre of teachers, some of whom you just met. All right, so I'm going to pivot here to the required public reporting I mentioned earlier. This is our second reporting out of last year's school safety data submission. You may have I think you have a one-pager in your folder that graphs out or charts out some of this data. The SSDS is a reporting mechanism, as you know, that records instances of violence, vandalism, substance, weapons, HIV-founded cases, and unfounded but alleged HIV cases, and other matters. Across the 3 years, we're looking back here, you'll see an increase in a few areas. In this bar graph, you're looking at subtotals for the second required look-back period, which is January to June. I think this is what you may have in your folder. You see the grand totals of incidents from both periods or the entire year. I just want to talk through the uptick a little bit. And I want to talk through it by sharing also this HIB programs and training data, which isn't required to be reported on at this meeting. I've shared this data with you previously, but I'm sharing it with you here because it reflects our continued work of improving our HIB trainings, programming, and reporting. With greater effort in those areas, I feel we'll be able to get a better handle and understanding of the SSDS incidents that we've reported, since the school safety data submission and our HIB programs and trainings are married together. The uptick in this chart makes sense because we're comparing last year's fully in-person year with the year before, which was our hybrid year, where there was, in some cases, very few kids in the building as a result of the pandemic. And even the year before that, in which we went remote for that last about quarter of the year. So a true analysis across the last 3 years is challenging since the backdrops of those years were different each year. Nonetheless, we continue our social emotional learning work and are constantly reflecting on our HIB procedures and how to improve them. Realizing we need more support in this area of school, we've hired a full-time student assistance counselor who will begin her work this year. A part of that work will be a focus on prevention, intervention, and education for several of the categories under the school safety data submission, including substance abuse. Madam President, I am happy to take questions from the board on those results or anything that I may have shared by way of explaining those results.
Thank you, Ms. Arlington. Anyone have questions for Kyle or Julie?
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. Other is kind of a catch-all category, so it may include things like misconduct in the cafeteria, or disrespect to a teacher, or disrespect to a fellow student. So anything that's considered like a code of conduct infraction that doesn't fall into the bucket of the other categories is considered the other.
But not so bad.
What's that?
Not so bad. I mean, it's just nonsense.
I don't think people say the word tomfoolery much anymore, but tomfoolery.
Kyle,
Seems like an ancient term.
nothing material. And when you introduced the new teachers,
Yeah.
there's 2 slides, some were bolded. What did the
every other?
bolded one, sorry if I missed that.
Yeah, it means I just hope it was easier for you to read that way. Just like the teacher in me wanted to make it
Oh, it is
like your
every other.
eyes.
Yeah,
every
okay.
other.
They don't get extra
Bold-
money or anything.
Bold in my world means something specific.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
looking for an asterisk. That's that like bold means, you know. All right,
Good question.
overthinking it.
A little bit, yeah.
So anybody else, questions for Kyle or anything you want to review before we move on? No? Okay.
Just one last thing, Dr. Panici, in the event anyone's watching at home, just to mark your calendars, this Wednesday will be our kickoff celebration of Harding's centennial year. So we have some fun historical components to that celebration. We hope everybody can make it. It will be on Harding's back pavement, if you will. And then, of course, a few referendum reminders, including that we expanded our website, so it now has pages specifically devoted to frequently asked questions and financial information. And then some upcoming events around the referendum, including next week's release of a series of informational videos, some more meet and greets, and a town-wide mailing towards the end of the month, as well as a referendum presence at school and community events over these next 5 weeks. Yeah, that's it.
Pretty okay? Mr. Ladotti's not here for finance and facilities. Is there anything, Vincent, you'd like to review with the referendum?
Yeah, I could give a little bit of just a very brief
Thank you.
report. I just what I would have, asked Mr. Ladotti to mention is that our custodial maintenance and IT staffs really did a great job this summer getting the buildings ready for the new school year. A lot of work, a lot of IT work, which was a collaborative effort between the maintenance and the IT, because I think we put up close to 45 new Promethean boards and 9 or 10 new smart TVs in the classroom, so that needed a lot of coordination between those two groups, so I do appreciate their efforts. Regarding the resolutions on tonight's agenda, in addition to the one that Mr. Arlington just spoke to about the school safety data point, the 3 other ones that I want to highlight are the biosecurity management plan, which has no substantial differentiation from the previous years, other than some dates have been updated, and the crisis emergency response plan, which also has dates and individuals, because we had some changeover in staff. We also expanded the section on suicide to include the new suicide hotline number and some other mandated communications issues that were required. Okay. Oh, and then I don't know if you wanted to say something about the school calendar, or the only other one is that we are amending the school calendar pursuant to the attached version. Okay.
Anyone questions on finance, facilities, and negotiations? No? Okay, good. Okay, next up, personnel management, Mr. Haberthorne.
Resolutions tonight. Resolutions 9 and 10 are the acceptance of resignations. Resolution 11 is the hiring of a Harding principal secretary. 12 is the hiring of a Harding health and PE teacher. Resolution 13 is a maternity leave replacement. Resolution 14 is a leave replacement for a high school English teacher. 15 is a leave replacement for an elementary ed teacher. Elementary ed teacher, sorry. And 16 is a revised maternity leave absence request. Resolution 17 are approval of additional teaching sections for a 22-23 school year. Resolution 18 are 22-23 school year co-curricular stipends. Resolution 19 is your approval for before and after care staff. And Resolution 20 is the approval of substitute staff. And then there is a Resolution 27 for policy review, which is in accordance with Policy and Regulation 1400 and Policy 311. And the recommendation of the superintendent approves the following new job descriptions for Spanish Club Advisor, Burley Testing Coordinator, and the Naviance Coordinator. That's it.
Anyone questions, Mr. Haberthorne? Okay, thank you, Mr. Haberthorne. Curriculum instruction, Mr. Jankowicz, please.
Thank you. So prior to tonight's meeting, the curriculum committee met and we discussed a potential change within the middle school, which we will talk about more at an exec session. And as Mr. Arlington presented earlier, we went over the results, or talked a little bit about the new teacher orientation. It seemed to go extremely well, and we're glad to have Sam on board to focus on that. We also discussed health standards as well. Moving on to resolution. Resolution number 21 is the use of the evaluation system software for various positions. 22 is the district mentoring plan. 23 is the district professional development plan. 24 is the student parent handbooks. 25, it's the hiring of a consultant to provide instructional coaching services to AP social studies teachers. 26 is the consultant to provide coaching and training services on an as-needed basis. And that's all the resolutions. Any questions? And no policies.
Thank you, Mr. Jankowicz. This time, any old business? We just wanted to mention, to remind everybody to visit our website at kenilworthschools.com /LEAP for information regarding the upcoming referendum on October 6th. The website has information on projects, voting events, and other opportunities. We would also like to thank the Bella Palermo Pastry Shop, who we've been collaborating with for the meet and greet on August 28th. And thank you to the residents that came out to chat. And we are excited to see everyone at our 100 Years of Harding on Wednesday, August 31st, starting at 6. And we'd also like to remind everybody to join us and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Any new business?
So question, how many people showed up at the Bella Palermo's?
A handful.
And some, yeah, it's good.
I probably went too early.
No, it is Sunday.
I heard the lunch crowd gets.
Were you handing out pastries? That might draw some.
Yeah.
Okay, any new business? Yes?
Just want to mention that the state has a sales tax holiday now going on. Buy any school supplies, there's no sales tax through next Monday, September 5th. So anybody wants to buy school supplies, there's no sales tax the next week.
Oh,
Great. And some new business which Mr. Arlington discussed is we have some new events that were added to the referendum, the Ice Cream Social, September 16th at Sweetland, 6 to 8 p.m., the virtual town hall meeting on September 19th at 6 p.m., and we are also going to be at the local sporting events, so please continue to look on the social media pages for updates and join us in working on sharing the information about the referendum.
Kyle, the people that did show up, what was the buzz? Were there any questions? Were they coming with misinformation, or?
They weren't. I think they really were wanting to learn more.
Nobody was exceptionally negative.
Okay.
They were just inquisitive about the projects.
Someone was speaking to me about, well, if you don't have room, why don't you just get rid of the ones that don't belong here? So that's what we're dealing with. They bring in a lot of money, people that they do belong here, but why don't we get, I'm sorry, it was outsiders, like to not have the
Choices.
And I said, they bring in a lot of money, so I mean, it's not that many of them, that would make a difference.
yeah,
Everyone belongs.
Exactly. That's what I was kind of saying, I mean, and plus they bring in the money that we need.
Yeah, but it just mathematically doesn't work that way. It's not
But I'm
like you
just
eliminate
saying,
the 100
people-
kids and you
that's
gain
what I
5
got. Well, I said,
classrooms.
well, we have
right.
to build an addition and
Yep.
and that's-
And I would add to that, the move for the middle school is to benefit Kenilworth 6th graders, right? The choice program isn't even available to 6th graders. So
Correct.
this is a move for, in part, Kenilworth 6th graders to benefit from an enhanced middle school experience. Yeah. I encourage everyone to check the website out or call or email me, and I've been making individual calls to people who want to learn more or have concerns. So I'll continue to do that.
Thank you. At this time, we want to open up the meeting to the public for comment. Is there a motion to open up the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion made by Mr. David, seconded by Mr. Haberthor. All those in favor of opening the meeting to the public, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carry. Meeting is now open to the public. Seeing no public, do we have a motion to close the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. David, seconded by Mr. Biner. All those in favor of closing the meeting to the public, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion's carried. Very good, thank you so much. Mr. Ganella, roll call of resolutions.
Yes.
Thank you.
This is for resolutions 1 through 28. 27. Sorry, 27 on the agenda. Any of those resolutions need to be voted on separately?
No?
Okay, so this is for resolutions 1 through 27 on the agenda. Biner?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Drogan?
Yes.
Abather?
Yes.
Jankowitz?
Yes.
Tiers?
Yes.
Panici?
Yes.
Motion's carry unanimously.
Okay, great. Mr. Ganella, is there a need to go into closed executive session?
Yes, there is.
Motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. David, seconded by Mrs. Drogan. All those in favor of going to closed session, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion's carried. We're going to move into executive session.
Okay.
Mr. Ganella?
Be it resolved by the Board of Education, the Board of Education meet in private session from which the public shall be excluded to discuss the topics of negotiation, a potential sidebar agreement with the Kenilworth Education Association, which private discussion is being held pursuant to Section 7B and 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act. Matters under discussion will be disclosed to the public as soon as final decisions are made and voted upon. Okay, we are in closed session.
Bruno, are we good?